We'd like to take a moment to thank our friends at Hester & Cook for sponsoring this podcast. Hester & Cook believes there's always a moment to celebrate, and we could not agree more. They make the most beautiful tablescapes for your holiday hosting, all from paper. Yep, you gotta see it to believe it. So stop by their stores around Nashville and Franklin, or shop online for the season's best holiday decor, gifts, and specialty tabletop items. Use promo code Magnolia for 15% off your first purchase in store or online at hesterandcook.com. Here on the Steel Magnolias podcast, we love discussing aspects of hospitality that make the South so endearing. Well, in 1955, two Georgia neighbors opened a restaurant that would become a true cultural icon. Join us at the table as we discuss the home of that special yellow sign where many stop for coffee, waffles, and hash browns. I'm Lainey.
And I'm Laura Beth.
And we are Steel Magnolias. The strength of steel
with the grace of a magnolia.
We are here to have uplifting conversations about life in the South.
And we've got plenty of room at our table, so pull up a chair.
Well, I can hear the theme from Cheers in my head as we're starting this discussion.
Aww.
I don't know, Waffle House just feels like it's got that feeling of being seen or feeling valued, maybe even a place where everybody knows your name.
Yes, and I love places like Waffle House where you just see all sorts of people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, right off the interstate, somebody that's been driving all day, someone else that just came from church.
Yes.
Like, you know, it's a wild mix of all aspects of life.
Yeah, I was thinking somebody's early morning is somebody else's late night.
You bet. Somebody just got off their shift and someone else is just waking up.
Yeah. Well, and even if you're not a regular, hopefully as we talk about this or even via your own experience, you've had kind servers and cooks that you've encountered in this glorious place. So let's just chat a little history. I know we talked at the very beginning, but yes, in 1955, these two Georgia neighbors opened up a Waffle House. They were in Avondale Estates, Georgia. And we are talking about Joe Rogers Sr. and Tom Forkner. And they decided to open this 24-hour sit-down restaurant, not fast food, for their friends and neighbors. And they wanted it to be focused on people, both sides of the counter. I loved the way they phrased that on their website. Focused on the people on both sides of the counter.
I love that too because it's so open that they are interacting more than in any other restaurant I can think of.
For sure. You don't feel that division in terms of there's not a wall up.
You're in the kitchen with them.
Metaphorically and physically, hopefully. Yeah, so just, you know, this sort of movement began. It gained a lot of popularity, and then new restaurants were beginning to be built in Georgia as well as some of the neighboring states in the South. And the yellow sign became a very familiar landmark along interstates. And
they're so often right off of an interstate.
Yeah. And today, the system has 1,900 locations in 25 states.
That is so awesome.
All of them open 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that also, because you know that that's a given, that's part of the whole iconic part of it, is if you have something that has you out at 2 a.m., you know that they're open. If you're hungry, you can get eggs.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the quote that the only thing certain in life is death, taxes, and Waffle House being open?
No, but that's awesome.
I thought that was great.
Well, that is just truly part of the beauty is, you know, I think about, we have some friends who, they do catering. They have a, you know, shop where you can come in and get food to go. And, they do a lot of all of the food at a vineyard here in town.
Yes.
And when they've worked all day, they're often found at Waffle House when they're done. You know, because they're ready to be served. We've served all day.
Yeah.
Now it's late. We're hungry and we want to be served.
Yeah.
So where do they go? Waffle House.
Waffle House. So they've served all this gourmet food, and there they go into the
Give
Waffle
us some
House.
eggs and waffles.
That is, well, these guys did want to found Waffle House on principles of providing friendly service. That was really important to them. But also providing opportunity for people to have a career that was rewarding and that was a quality career. And I think it's amazing today. Waffle House provides jobs for 40,000.
40,000. That's what I read. Isn't that? Did they ever dream that when they opened? There's no way they had that big of a visionary plan.
They couldn't.
I just love that.
And it really is, the associates, they are Waffle House. I think of this as
absolutely
as like the food is good, but it's almost like a bonus.
And it's also, to me, as someone who enjoys cooking, it's pretty simple food. I mean, it's not hard for me to fry bacon and scramble eggs.
Right.
But they know they stick with what they do well, and it's 24 hours, just 24 hours a day. It's available. They don't, they do have sandwiches and other things.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they stick with the basics.
They do it well. We just
went
right there
and
we saw a lot of butter up at the top, didn't we? Of the inventory.
Margarine, actually.
Yes.
But yes. And my hash browns were perfectly crispy.
Perfect. Mine were too.
Just things like that. They know what they're doing.
Well, we're going to get into the food in just a minute because obviously we got to talk about the food. But I do just think you see friendliness even years later. 1955 friendliness is still happening in 2023. And that is amazing.
We were greeted so kindly.
So kindly.
And our server was so friendly. And we even talked some personal things with her later,
Yeah.
And found out she was a cancer survivor when she was 26. And
she only had one lung. And
hearing people's stories. And that's a special part of it.
So they said that they're not in the food business, that they're in the people business.
And you feel that.
I said, they wouldn't be still standing, though, if their food was bad. Because,
right.
You only really need a friendly server for so long, and pick me up every once in a while is nice, but you're not going to have bad food if it's...
That's right.
So they really do have good food, too. So you want to talk about just even some experiences even before we jump into menu items?
Sure,
I was going to kick us off a little bit. So for me, Waffle House was a lot of high school.
Okay.
Friday night, Saturday night, not old enough to go see, a good concert that's at an 18 and up place or something, but old enough to drive and wanting to be out maybe at 9 o'clock or, something where a restaurant really isn't a good place to go hang. They're closing, a lot of restaurants would be closing up at that hour. Or even, I would say that I had a few instances where my friends and I wanted to eat out at restaurants. And, it's the server just rolls their eyes, here's some teens, right?
Oh, for sure.
So you feel that. You don't want to occupy tables of people that are probably going to spend more and drink more.
Absolutely.
But that's not the case at Waffle House. Yep. I felt like an equal there. And it was just a really fun place to hang out. We have a few to choose from now. The one I'm thinking of was the only one in our city at that time in Brentwood. But they had a jukebox.
Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. The jukebox is part of Waffle House experience, too.
And, I didn't know that for sure at that time. But, yeah, since then, I'm like, okay, so they do have a jukebox at all of them. We'd play, our guilty pleasures of 90s boy bands. And
so cute.
They've got all kinds of things to choose from, as well as their own silly songs about Waffle House.
Which is hilarious. And until I did the research for this, I didn't know about that.
I remember seeing the listings of funny names. I don't think I ever push play on those because I'm not going to spend my quarters on that when NSYNC and Backstreet Boys are also
your options
available.
That's right.
But You can even listen on Spotify if you're not near a Waffle House, or if you just want to know what we're talking about, because you don't. There is Waffle House Records, so they have a playlist. I'll link to it in our show notes.
That's so cute.
Because I was cracking up at some. They have music videos too.
That's hilarious. And then there's even songs, that aside, that just mention Waffle House. The Jonas Brothers.
Okay, you're right. It's very much in pop culture, I guess. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then I even read there's 12 different hip-hop songs that include something about Waffle House.
Are you serious?
Including Jay-Z and Lil Wayne. So it's part of hip-hop culture as well, which makes sense.
Yeah.
That, you know, being birthed in Atlanta and a lot of hip-hop culture
true.
out of there too.
That's true. That might be speaking into the selections on the jukebox. But yeah, I mean, so, you know, we're talking about a diner feel. You can sit at a booth, you can sit at the counter. So it kind of does make sense to have a jukebox there.
That's true.
To just complete that. But really cheap enough to afford, I would say, in terms of just other experiences I've had. You know, it's a good option if you just need food and don't want to spend a lot of money. And I don't know, it being open 24 hours, it just brings its own potential set of rowdiness, and some people are sobering up and some people are nursing hangovers.
That's so true. That is so true.
But at least they have somewhere to go, right?
I know.
It's kind of a place of refuge, if I could be as bold to say that.
I know. Well,
but I think even it was either a Thanksgiving night or somewhere around a Thanksgiving holiday, I felt like we were either Mom and I were coming to see you in Atlanta, or maybe we were going to be picking you up in Atlanta. I don't remember all the details, but it does seem like we stopped at a Waffle House, like on a holiday or something, where it felt like this is not how it should be. But I'm really thankful this food is available.
Is an option. Well, and that's just the thing, right? There are times where you find yourself either at a weird time or on a weird day, but hunger's gonna come when hunger's gonna come.
That's right.
So grateful for options like Waffle House.
That's right. You want to talk about the menu?
Let's do.
Okay.
Well, you got all your breakfast basics.
Yes.
Whatever your pork of choice.
That's true.
Philip even had some Philly steak. Like, I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah. So he doesn't do eggs well. They don't sit well with his stomach. And so he did like a breakfast bowl, but it didn't
have eggs. He did.
Actually, it was like the lunch bowl. So that's why we were sure that it wouldn't have eggs. Okay. It was like a hash brown base.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like Philly cheesesteak or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did the breakfast. So I did the All-Star, which is just 2 eggs, toast.
You get your choice of hash browns, grits, I think.
Yeah. So I did hash browns, obviously. I don't do them in any of the varieties that you can do them there. We'll talk about that in a minute.
I was going to quiz you on that. Do you know the options?
Are you kidding me? No.
We don't go that often.
No.
I mean, I knew a couple that you hear the most.
Yeah. You want to go through them? There's
are
there 7? How many different combos? And we're talking about just the combos of toppings that you can put on your hash browns.
I have 9.
9. Okay.
In my research.
Okay.
I didn't know that you would call scattered. Like, that's just plain hash browns. Like,
so I could say I ordered them scattered.
You got scattered.
Yeah, they're just scattered on your plate. Okay.
Smothered.
I
was going to quiz
smothered.
you, but I think you already have them in your
I have
notes,
the list over here, too. Because I didn't know them off. And I don't even think I could have recited to you all the names.
I couldn't either. And when I think smothered, I thought that was melted cheese. That's not melted cheese. Mm-mm. That is sauteed with onions.
I would have said cheese was involved.
Because if it's smothered.
Yeah.
But that's covered.
Smothered in onions. Yeah.
Covered in, that is melted American cheese, or as your son calls it, square cheese.
Square cheese, yes.
Chunked. I did know this one. Chunks of ham.
Yeah.
Chunks of grilled hickory smoked ham.
Okay.
Now we're going to get into some that I've never seen done, personally. Peppered is spicy jalapeno peppers.
Okay.
Diced is grilled tomatoes.
This is getting too
capped, adorned with grilled button mushrooms. topped, which is prepared with Bert's chili, Jimmy Dean sausage, tomatoes, and onions.
So Bert's Chili is sort of famous, and that was the song that I listened to while I was doing my research. It was a tune where this guy thinks his girlfriend's seeing somebody else, but she's just in love with Bert's Chili.
Oh.
So, because he knows she keeps meeting somebody at the Waffle House.
Oh, and he thought it was a guy named Bert, but it was really...
It's just Bert's Chili.
Well, did you know, I read that some of the menu items are actually named after real people who worked there.
That's so great.
Including Bert's Chili was from a Bert employee. And then Alice's iced tea is... I guess there was an Alice, and I don't know if all their tea is called Alice's. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not an expert, and I'm not finished with the list. There's one more.
Oh, yeah.
Country hash browns. Did you see this one?
No, I didn't see this.
And this actually sounds like this would be a hit to me, to a lot of people. It's sausage gravy poured on top.
Ooh, that does make it country.
Right?
I thought you were going to say the last one would be scattered all the way, like throw it all together.
Oh, that kind of makes me nauseous.
Yeah.
That's too many things.
That makes me sick. It has been calculated that you can order 768 unique varieties of hash browns.
I think I read something about this because it also includes the 3 sizes. Like all those numbers of things, because there's also like 3 sizes.
A double
so you
portion.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
I have something funny here, just because these kind of things blow my mind. The numbers per minute. Waffle House serves 127 cups of coffee, 341 strips of bacon, and 145 waffles per minute.
Oh my gosh.
Like just those sheer numbers, kind of, mind blown.
Yeah, that is crazy. Well, if you really want to nerd out, like you can go ahead and look on the website and see all of the varieties of foods that they've served. Well, I guess all the breakfast ones at least, that have been served since 1955. They have a full listing of how many that they've... Yeah. So
who is keeping this tally?
Like they've served 153 million hash brown orders.
And if this is changing per minute, I mean, this tally might be as close as our deficit. No, I'm kidding. But you know how that ticker's like scary.
That would be a really fun thing for them to put on their website as a feature.
The ticker that keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and even in terms, since we just were discussing hash browns, it's funny, they actually serve a lot more of those than waffles. They've served 124 million waffle orders.
Wow.
It's sweater weather and soup season, y'all. Laura Beth here to tell you about Zoop. Z-O-U-P. Zoop broths bring flavor to southern staples like really great grits, while their soups provide a comforting meal. Zoop is available at your favorite retailers across the country, including Instacart and online at walmart.com. For you Amazon shoppers, use promo code 20Magnolias. 20Magnolias to get 20% off your first purchase on Amazon. Learn more at zoopbroth.com. And now, on with the show. Yeah.
Now, I have a friend who orders something that I used to think was unique to order at Waffle House because it seems weird to me, but it's a thing, and that's the T-bone steak.
Oh, yes.
That's a thing. Like, people go to get
the steak.
Yeah.
I haven't done that personally, but yes, you're absolutely right.
Well, they also claim to serve 2% of all the eggs in the U.S., and that is another mind blown.
That is a mind blown. Oh, my gosh.
Right?
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy.
Now, I have another thing I have to mention, because I just think this is, I don't know, just also very cool. So, again, Avondale Estates, Georgia, where this happened, is in the Atlanta area.
Yeah.
In the 1960s, a man by the name of Truett Cathy was the owner of a local diner called the Dwarf House.
Oh, yes.
Do you know this, what I'm about to say?
Well, I've been to the Dwarf House, so I know a little bit where you're going.
I think this is hysterical. So the Dwarf House contracted with the Waffle House, local thing, to sell the proprietary chicken sandwich. Well, which is what we know as the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. Well, that sandwich quickly started overtaking Waffle House's own items in sales. And so Waffle House ended the deal, which prompted Kathy to spin off Chick-fil-A.
Wow.
Seeing how good that was.
Yeah, it could stand
doing.
alone. Yeah.
So even to think about that is
That's
like
incredible, Lainey.
that iconic brand
Yes.
spins off another iconic brand to, I mean, this is like power in the South.
Those are powerhouse spots. Yes. Waffle House and Chick-fil-A. Yeah.
So I loved coming across that because I'm like, would he have ever done that
That's
if he hadn't?
true.
I don't know. Maybe he would have
if he
in
hadn't
some
done
other
that
way.
deal with Waffle House to even see
No.
that.
And Waffle House is like, nix
Yeah.
that. We need more
Ex-nay.
T-bones.
Yeah,
We need our own T-bone sales.
we make a lot more profit on waffles than buying chicken from a secondary source.
Which you mentioned that, you know, that's a thing too. They wanted the name to be Waffle House.
Yes.
Because that's what they make the most profit off of. More than your eggs and your sausage.
Yeah.
It's the waffles.
Well, that's smart because when I went today, I was like, well, I'm just going to get some breakfast.
And you're like,
But I have to get a waffle. You do. And they brand it Waffle House right in the
mean-
middle, like literally branded in.
And
It's-
isn't it in, I didn't
it's
get
in the
one, but
lettering.
it's like the lettering of
Yeah.
the sign.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that sign is so iconic. It looks like Scrabble letters.
So simple.
And it's even been spun off. I see T-shirts of like band names and things that are, you know, that
In those
yellow
letters.
block lettering that are playing off of that, or you know, different little saying. Well, we're talking way more than a restaurant now. With this next segment, we're going to talk about.
Oh,
This is so cool, y'all. So, disaster strikes, right? Really, no part of the country is immune to some sort of disaster striking. So, Waffle House is actually regarded by FEMA as one of.
which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Thank you, Lainey. They are one of the top 4 corporations when it comes to disaster response. The other 3 are Walmart, Home Depot, and Lowe's, which you would think of.
Hey, but pause. Where's Lowe's out of? Do we know?
No, I don't know.
Well, I'm just thinking Walmart and Home Depot, also Southern.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the South showing up, y'all.
Well, yeah, helping hand.
Anyway,
Yeah.
just saying.
Volunteers, go balls. So their disaster management plan, now I'm talking about Waffle House, includes on-site and portable generators, as well as jump teams of workers and supplies, which are transported in from unafflicted outside areas, allowing local staff to focus on their homes and families.
Love this so much.
Like, this is so basic needs being covered. So, you know, many people, when they're in crisis, let's say a tornado has struck, let's say a hurricane has come through, let's say, you know, a flood, they're not getting hot meals for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, you know, it's so easy to ship boxes of, you know, power
you're
bars
getting
and
granola
stuff.
bars,
Yeah.
and you're getting bottled waters. But many customers have had their first hot meal and experienced their first sense of normalcy and comfort after a storm because the Waffle House was open. So the immediate involvement during these sorts of times is to, as quickly as possible, for the Waffle House itself to get up and running back to 24/7. That's just to serve, really.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have a very recent little story I want to tell. We have a listener, Paula Hewitt, who lives in Florida.
Yeah.
And I have interacted with her a little bit on social media before. And, well, I've met her in person. But anyway, we've interacted on social media as well. And she had a social media post up this week. It was actually on Monday before that, the Monday before Adalia came through.
Okay.
And I thought this was so interesting because she said that she was paying attention to see if the Waffle House was closed because then it would be time to panic.
It is a marker.
And I was like, that's so interesting, you know, because it jumped out at me because I knew we were going to do this recording.
Yes.
But yet I was also like, that is a marker. Because it's an expectation.
And we're not being like even funny, like, haha, is the Waffle House open? Like literally there's like sort of, I don't know, different like code yellow, code red sorts of markers that the Waffle House follows in terms of disaster prep and recovery. And so, yeah.
Like, that's a thing.
That is a thing. That is amazing. Well, I forgot to sort of even mention some of you guys that had chimed in. I asked some people. You said social media, so that reminded me, like, what are some of the favorites among listeners of things to order? All-Star Special is definitely up there for sure.
Well, hence the name, right?
I mean,
I guess.
But they have great coffee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if I harped on that very much, but to begin with, the mug is perfect. It is it's the right kind of mug that you should drink coffee out of because it's small and it's got
Keeps
a great handle. Yeah. But yeah, it was really cute to see some of you guys with your certain orders, and not a lot of specific hash brown orders came through, but I think there was a lot of special waffles, like pecan. I always do pecan waffles.
What? I didn't know that was an option. That sounds good.
Oh, yeah. You could do chocolate chip. You can do peanut butter chip.
Interesting.
You would like that because you like peanut butter so much. Yeah, I would,
but pecan sounds delicious to me. Well, I would say on the hash brown thing, I think the most popular is what they call scattered, smothered, covered. So that's just hash browns, onion, and cheese.
Yeah.
I guess that's the most popular if you're throwing something on there besides just scattered.
Yeah, I love that. What else? They have great fun photos to look at on their website of all the old sort of the progression of all the black and white photos.
I don't remember the name, but I remember being in a hotel that had several cool books. And they had one that was like a fine photography book of all just different things from Waffle House, like across the country, you know, and it was like weird angles that showed the ketchup and something cool happening outside the window, you know, like it was artsy,
fun, like a coffee table book.
Yeah. And then, I mean, just even in movies, you think about how many movies have included some scene at the Waffle House, or like literally I looked up and saw some of the ones, Due Date, Tin Cup, Single Moms Club, that movie Clint Eastwood did, The Mule.
Oh, wow.
So many movies.
So interesting.
And then I saw an article in Maxim that mentioned there's so many celebrity sightings that happen at Waffle Houses. And that's, again, because they're everywhere and they're open all the time. But this article said, you may run into someone famous while munching on a Texas melt. Sean Combs, Kid Rock, Chris Rock, Shaq, Dwayne Wade, and apparently Donnie Wahlberg is a regular who loves to leave $1,000 tips. So don't you love hearing stuff like that?
I do, and I'm so glad you mentioned this because I wanted to talk about, I feel like generosity is something that you do hear about in news stories. I don't know if I would say often, but even occasionally it's really sweet to hear about the generosity that some Waffle House associates receive in tips. Like I saw one in Greensboro, North Carolina, where a Waffle House employee got a surprise when a country music star, so they remained anonymous, I don't know who it is, left $1,000 tip on a to-go meal.
Love it.
This server that received this, she was working a double, which means she was working from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Woo!
And had her baby with her.
Wow.
That's a
wow
hard scene to see. So yes, that whoever that artist was very moved to give her some extra money. A Tennessee waitress at a place here in our state was shocked when a generous $600 tip was left on the graveyard shift she was working at 4 a.m. This is the server talking. She said, when a customer walked in, I was so ready to go home. I didn't even want to wait on him, but I was the only waitress working. As she took care of the patron, they chatted about her plans to take her son on a beach trip. I told him that we were getting ready to go to the beach the next day, and I had spent all my money on his recent birthday party. At the end of the meal, the customer paid his bill of $24.29 plus an additional $600 tip.
Come on.
He walked out the door. And actually, the cook ran after him just to make sure it wasn't like a mistake. You know, like writing that they couldn't really make out very well, just to make sure, because they were
Wow.
like, this is really generous. And so on and so on. I mean, gosh, is there one more I was going to share? Oh, I thought this was so cute. There was a group in Coleman, Alabama that were doing a Friendsgiving meal at the Waffle House. They were actually doing breakfast. And they wound up tipping their waitress $1,125 on a bill of $74.
Wow.
They pulled their money together. And the generosity goes both ways. Any Waffle House that you go to, you can actually even just talk with the manager to ask what is the local group that they like to support, because they partner with schools, civic groups, host, fundraising projects. They select somebody in the community that they are going to also be giving back to.
That's awesome.
So even though it's a large chain, they sort of get granular in.
I love it. Hospitality and generosity. I mean, this is what we're all about.
Amen.
Kudos to Waffle House and your opening your doors many years ago.
I was like,
so
so
cool.
anyway, I do feel like Waffle House gets some fun headlines for generosity.
Well, there's an author that we have had on the podcast that we love, Sean Dietrich.
Oh, yes.
And Sean's done some writings on Waffle House. I think we
Yes.
should link to in the show notes. Just if you are fascinated by this topic
Yeah.
at all, or just want to get your heart warmed. He's done a couple cool writings about Waffle House.
He loves just watching the American South, or people of the Americas, doing life together and pulling out stories of kindness.
Yeah.
As he just walks life.
And
so
they're rampant at the Waffle
They're
House.
rampant,
So, of course,
yes.
he's going to love it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I did want to mention the founders of the Waffle House brand. This is fascinating. I don't know if you saw this. They both died in 2017 within less than 2 months of each other.
No way. I did not.
Joe
Wow.
Rogers Sr. died on March 3rd and Tom Forkner on April 26th of 2017.
2017. Well, this is cool that this is coming out the day after Labor Day, because we mentioned the year was 1955.
But it opened Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
So we didn't know that this would be so timely.
No, we didn't.
Well, the original restaurant is actually a museum now.
So cool.
To Waffle House. So you can go to Avondale Estates, Georgia to see that.
Just close to Atlanta, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That location, which is the museum. I will say I have tried to do this, and the hours are weird. So it's basically on Wednesdays.
They're the opposite of Waffle House.
Yeah.
Restaurants, they're only open a little bit because they're working.
And it's midweek. Like, I'm
Yeah.
usually there on a weekend. So I'm like, throw the dog a bone, right?
Yeah.
At least do Friday or Monday.
That's
But we're
true.
going to do Wednesday? Okay. So Wednesdays at 11 and 1 are your two times.
You could do a tour, is that what you said?
Yeah, you schedule that
Yeah.
you're coming,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
where you can come and do a little tour. They do occasional Saturdays. You'll have to check the website. It's their general website, but then there's the museum.
Yeah, okay.
At the top where you can click on that. Like I believe they did Labor Day,
Okay.
and then I think I can't
Interesting.
remember. You'll just have to look, but it's pretty limited your choices. But I think that would be so fun to see.
Yeah. Well, so you'll see on when you go, because now we're encouraging you to go.
Go do it, y'all.
You'll see on the uniforms, which are so cute. Their uniforms are so cute. It always says good food fast, but they've asked it and friendly.
How cute.
So, and they
How
are.
cute.
That's been my experience. I hope it's been your experience if you have been in a Waffle House, or if you've never been. I hope we've enticed you to go and make your hash brown order your own custom preference.
I love it. Well, you know, I love that we're so blessed in this nation, but sometimes I cringe at how young people have so much that they don't appreciate just a scrambled egg and
Yeah.
hash brown.
Yeah.
Take your kids to the Waffle House, and they need the experience of normalcy of
Oh,
that.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's a wonderful meal,
Yes.
even if it's not the healthiest salad and
That's right.
fine dining experience. It's an important part of life.
That's right. All right, good food fast, y'all, and friendly. We hope you've had a good time with us here at the table. We'll be back next week with more Southern culture. Until then, peace be with y'all.
Peace, love, and hash browns to y'all.